Greetings all. Elle Grinnell here with True Speak, bringing you the All Things Happy and Healthy vlog again this week. For those of you that follow regularly, you know that a while ago I started bringing on experts because I don't claim to know it all, and you should never claim to know it all either. And so this helps bring a fresh perspective to what you all are hearing, and it allows you to reach out and communicate and connect with others outside of the True Speak community. As you know, my most recent book is the Teen Whisperer. And so Mary and I met and we chatted a few times, and of course that came up, and come to find out Mary's a toddler whisperer. And my mind was blown, and I was so excited, as you know, I've raised two children, that this is such valuable information that I invited her on right away to share what she knows with you. So I'm going to begin with allowing Mary to just introduce herself to you all.
Thank you so much, Elle. I really appreciate this opportunity. Hi, I'm Mary Scott. And when I was 8 years old, I wanted to grow up to become a grandmother. I didn't want the parenting thing was just not in my purview. I wanted to be grandma with a box full of dress ups and a box full of stories to books to read and a porch swing and that stuff. I also ended up being the oldest of 25 grandchildren. And my favorite aunt told me a wonderful story when I was pregnant with my first child. And she said, first children are to be avoided at all costs. You have to thoroughly convince yourself that it's number 3, that you've been through this all before, that if it didn't go right most of the time, we wouldn't have billions of people in the world. Relax and enjoy your child. So I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. My sister is 15 years younger than me, so okay. My cousin is 17 years younger than me, so that's 2. So this is my 3rd child. So I come from a reporter background. I'm very observant, and it was just real interesting to be able to deal with little people as little people. So that's where I'm coming from. Thanks.
Oh, I love that. And also, I'm going to make an assumption here because I know that you also have great editing skills, and you did an award-winning documentary or 2. Is that correct? And so that just proves how much patience you have as well. Because
patience is necessary when there's all these other people around.
And then I also happen to know that you love baking, and that photo behind you is actually your creations. And when a toddler knows that's coming, you can get
yes, there are always cookies at Nana's house. Always. If Nana comes to visit, there's always cookies. Nana's cookies tend to have oatmeal in them and raisins, and they're healthy cookies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sneak it in there, and they will love it, and then learn not to actually kind of want it any other way because yours are the best. So that being said, besides cookies, let's not talk about bribing necessarily, although we know it's a skill that's functional. Give us another tip that you think is unique that would be helpful to people.
Well, little people are very curious, and they like to touch things and handle things. So if you have to take your child out to the store, grocery store, or Target shopping, whatever, put something in each hand. I used to hand my children Matchbox cars, so there was one in each hand, and they could play with their little cars and not have to go grabbing things in the store. The other cool things in the grocery store, I would always, because you go in the store and the first space you get to is produce, right? I would hand them an apple. Didn't care whether it was washed or not. It doesn't matter. Kids that age, a little extra dirt improves their immune system. My own opinion.
I agree.
Hand them an apple. They're busy eating their apple while you're doing all your grocery shopping, so they're not getting their little hands reaching out other things. Mm-hmm. Just pay for it at the checkout. Makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, distraction when you're a child is a good thing, teaches them how to focus. Right.
Mhm.
And then when we become adults, distraction has the opposite effect on us. We forget how to focus. So you're teaching them at a young age how to stay focused.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. And the other thing, and you're standing in line, and everybody stands in line, particularly nowadays, because you've got to have 6 feet of distance and stuff, and it can be boring. So this is where it's a good time to be able to look at your environment, point out letters, point out colors. Do you see something red? Do you see a bee?
Mm-hmm.
And that way you're engaged with the child at their level of, where they're learning about stuff, because they're little sponges. The toddlers are total sponges. There's some statistics that a toddler can learn 100 new things every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's words or associations or emotions or whatever, they're just pulling it in and not always knowing what to do with it. So that's where a good observant parent can help. And when you get up against it, step back, take a breath. They're not going to die while they're just getting crazy.
So
And sometimes a lack of reaction is exactly what is required to make them stop doing what they're doing.
yeah, I agree. And so because these interviews are always unscripted, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit right here. But what about that makes me to think about temper tantrums.
Mhm.
And so what's a tip for that? Lack of reaction, I think, may be one, but
Yeah, every child is different.
Mhm.
Some children, you need to kind of walk away. And if they feel like they're losing you, you still know where they are. And obviously, you know that they're not going to get into a lot of danger. So sometimes walk away. Sometimes it's hold them real tight and just don't say anything. Just hold them real tight. Be very quiet. Sometimes it's laugh at them. So, you kind of have to be observant and get to know your own child. And remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if something doesn't work with your child, don't do that.
Mhm. Exactly. No matter how many books you've read or how many experts have told you that that's how to do it.
Yeah. Each child is different. And don't forget, the nuts don't fall so far from the tree. So, what were you like as a child? What was your spouse like as a child? Because you always get one like you and one like your spouse. And if you go for 3, it's God knows which relative this one came from.
And that is so true because I had 2, and I remember exactly what you were saying. So with my first one, temper tantrum around 2-ish in the grocery store, and they have the mirrors kind of up high. And so I left her in the middle of the floor screaming,
Mhm.
and I walked around the corner. Now I could still see her 100%. And
Mhm.
that screaming stopped as soon as I got around the corner and was out of view.
Yeah.
And so I came back around the corner and just a blank look on her face, and I picked her up and held her, said, I love you and I'm glad you're feeling better, and that was the only one. So I feel like perhaps I was lucky that that was one and done. My second one, that made her hysterical being gone. So it went from temper tantrum to should we be calling 911, And so with her, it was a scoop up and humming and rocking. And
Mhm.
then it just simmered down. So yeah, most parents will tell you that everything you learned with your first child, just throw it all out the door and start all over with the next one.
The other thing is that you're a parent in public. And if the folks around you don't understand what's going on, that's their problem, not yours. So don't worry about what other people think. Do what you think is best, and it's going to work for you much better.
Mhm. It's so true. I was working with a gal who wrote a parenting book, and she had 5 children under the age of 7. And she said that a lot of times she felt like a bad parent. And it was always because of what she thought other people or thinking about her. And number one, you don't know what other people are thinking. And secondly, exactly what you just said, it doesn't matter because we were all raised different and we all parent different. And so just embrace what works for you. And again, it's going to be different with every child. So
Yeah.
I like that advice a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. So anything else you want to share?
Discipline can often be a problem. I have noticed that timeouts of 60 to 90 seconds seem to work pretty well. Any longer than that, the child gets insecure. But just to, okay, you are not in this situation for 60 to 90 seconds, which as a percentage of the child's lifetime is forever.
Exactly. When you think about their attention span, right, how they beep bop around, then when they come out, you just remind them, okay, the reason why you were there was because you hit your brother in the face.
Right.
just kind of remind them that there were consequences.
And screens as babysitters can be very helpful. You know, don't feel terrible if you put your child in front of a screen once in a while, you know, certainly not for hours, but I would recommend Sesame Street or some of the BBC programs that you can occasionally find on YouTube. Just be careful of YouTube because when something's finished playing, you're not sure what they're going to put up next.
Exactly. And also screen time for the parents. Like how many times do you see a child acting up like in the grocery store and the parents like just still on the phone, you know, not addressing this. As parents, we need to watch our screen time because then there is no interaction with our children.
Absolutely. And it helps to learn the Sesame Street songs and the voices and stuff, because that way you've got more tools to play with your child.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that 100%. And also a lot of tactile stuff, right? They love at that age, touch, feel, touch. And so you're really helping that level of learning at that age.
Right. It's nice to keep some baby wipes in your pocket or your baby bag, because you want to be able to let them touch things, but little kids have sticky fingers. So it's okay to go with, oh, I see you want to play with that. All right, let's clean your hands first, blow on some they're dry, and then you can pet it softly.
Right. Exactly. I know parenting, so many lessons, not only to help our children learn, but for ourselves to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
I always ask an owner if the dog can be petted.
Yes, so much. So that being said, we just barely touched the tip of the iceberg. And I know you have so many other tips and ways to help parents feel understood and not judged, and to embrace and enjoy the experience that is toddler parenting. So how can they reach you to get more information?
They can reach me at my email, which is businessriff@gmail.com. And you can find, if you need to do business networking, I'm at maryscott.info.
Okay, so I'll put both of those in the comments below so you all can look at that. Mary's a great contact if you really need somebody to talk to and somebody who's been there and done that with lots of grandkids. She's a great resource because she comes with no judgment. A lot of times, you know, it's great to talk to family members, but they may have judgment about how and what you're doing. And so this is a great opportunity for you to expand your network and to not feel alone sometimes in what's going on in your parenting world with those young ones, especially.
I'm here for support and no judgment. And if you don't take my advice, so what?
Exactly. I love that. So that being said, remember to subscribe and follow and refer the channel of All Things Happy and Healthy. And so until then, my friends, aloha and stay safe and healthy out there. Until next week.